In 1997, a 14-year-old girl named Amber Creek disappeared after leaving a group home in Illinois. 2 weeks later, her body was found in a remote marsh across the state line. The case was chilling. Investigators knew it was no accident. But with no suspects, no clear motive, and only limited forensic tools, the case went cold and stayed cold for nearly 2 decades. Amber's family never gave up. Detectives passed the file from one generation to the next, hoping science would one day give them a breakthrough. And in 2014 it did. A single drop of DNA, retested with modern technology, revealed a suspect no one had ever considered. A man with no criminal record, a man living in plain sight, and a man whose past had finally caught up to him. This is the Crime Vault, and this story proves that the truth always finds a way. You're watching the Crime Vault, daily stories of real crimes, cold cases, and hard-earned justice. If you believe in truth and in giving victims a voice, hit that subscribe button and join the community. Today's case is one that haunted families, officers, and an entire community until the breakthrough came. Let's begin. Amber Gail Creek was born in 1982 in Illinois. By 14, her life had already been turbulent, bouncing between foster care and group homes. She had a strong will, but a vulnerable heart. And like many teens in the system, she craved connection. On January 24, 1997, Amber ran away from the Teen Living Program shelter in Chicago. It wasn't her first time, and staff assumed she'd return. But this time was different. She was last seen at a motel party in Rolling Meadows, with a mix of teens and adults, many of them strangers. And then she was gone. On February 9, 1997, her body was discovered in Vernon Marsh Wildlife Area, Wisconsin, over 60 miles from where she was last seen. A man walking his dog spotted a body near a snowbank. It was Amber. She had been bound at the wrists with duct tape, suffocated with plastic bags tied around her head, sexually assaulted, and her throat was cut post-mortem. The most haunting detail? The killer had used a marker to write the letter on her leg. Wisconsin and Illinois police launched a massive manhunt. They interviewed known sex offenders, former shelter workers, other teens from the motel party. The motel guests gave conflicting stories. One said Amber left willingly with a man in a dark car. Another claimed she was high and got into a fight. DNA was collected from the crime scene, but in 1997, testing was limited. The best they could do was store the sample in hopes of future technology. For nearly 2 decades, Amber's case was passed from detective to detective. Each one tried. Each one failed. In 2014, the FBI launched a cross-check using newer DNA databases. And that's when it happened. A hit. The DNA matched a man named Jose Ferreira from Fort Atkinson, Wisconsin. He was 36 years old, worked in local restaurants. No criminal record. Never once flagged in any of the original investigations. Back in 1997, Ferreira was 18, the same age as many of the partygoers that night. He admitted to police that he had been at the party, but denied knowing Amber. When confronted with the DNA evidence, Ferreira folded. In a taped confession, he said Amber had wanted to go for a ride, that he didn't mean to kill her, that it was just a mistake. But prosecutors said the evidence told a darker story. In 2019, Jose Ferreira stood trial for the murder and assault of Amber Creek. Key points from the trial: DNA matched semen found on Amber's body tape and bags matched items found in his old residence. Witnesses testified that Ferreira had once joked about killing a girl in the snow. His defense team argued that the sex was consensual, that Amber was a runaway who got involved with the wrong crowd. But the jury didn't buy it. Verdict: guilty of first-degree intentional homicide and sexual assault of a child. He was sentenced to life in prison without parole. Amber's family had waited 22 years for justice. Her mother spoke in court through tears. She wasn't perfect, but she was mine, and she didn't deserve this. The case became a rallying point for forensic genealogy, with experts saying it proved the importance of storing cold case DNA long-term. Amber Creek became more than just a victim. She became the face of persistence, proof that truth always finds its way back. Amber's story reminds us that justice may be slow, but it never forgets. A killer thought he could hide for 20 years. He thought time would erase what he did. But DNA doesn't lie, and Amber never stopped speaking, even from the grave. Subscribe to the Crime Vault for more true stories like this every single day. Real cases, real people, real crime.